Hey, hey, hey.
Hello, hello.
It's another wonderful week, another podcast episode of the Mismatched Podcast with Danna.
Do you guys want to know that
and me?
We just had to start over because I swore on the first podcast.
But that's not why we had to start over. We also lost video
because we lost
Our
video.
sound card was full.
I couldn't
We are
get it back.
clearly professionals.
So we're
this.
starting over. Thankfully, you missed nothing. So we're starting
Danna
over.
did drop a real sweary word.
I said the S word. Okay.
And it wasn't shoot.
Nope.
Or darn diddy darn.
All right. So, but the good thing is that I feel that we were all over the place, and now I know what I want to talk about.
Structure.
Yes, I know what I want to talk about.
I think it was actually pretty good. We always say this, like when we don't plan, it's better because it's spontaneous. It's what our listeners want to hear.
I was telling a great story that I am going to get to, and I really hope that I tell it as well.
It's been a really busy week. So the kids are still in school. So all of you all that are enjoying summer vacation with your kids home, we're still packing lunches here.
When you are listening to this, though, it will be our kids' last day of school. So that's
School will be out.
Yes.
There will be no more lunch packing, which I am
literally
so excited
all
about.
I care about.
I know, because I would rather have them home and like fix real food besides lunch meat sandwiches.
No, I just don't want to do anything for them.
Listen, I'm going to stop doing stuff for my kids. They're going to do it all on their own.
I came home from work. Liv did not have, she had one exam early this morning, and I came home from work and I was so angry because I walked in the door and the house was an absolute wreck. Nothing was done. And this little girl laid out by the pool all day today.
Well,
that's not going to fly all summer. To be clear.
The UV index was a 9.
It was a 9. I don't
Because
care.
if you have a teenage girl in your house, mine is Campbell, because I don't think she follows that stuff.
No, but
every other girl has told me that
girls.
the UV index was a 9 today, which means you should be wearing your sunscreen to avoid skin cancer.
Does not mean that you should be laying out. It means you should be putting sunscreen on.
Well, I mean, they can still lay out, but they should get their jobs done first and put on sunscreen, and then they can burn themselves.
Be responsible, please.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of being outside and sunscreen, tell everyone where you went this past weekend.
Oh,
and why everyone in my house is insanely jealous.
So we did. We went to the Memorial Golf Tournament. Bill and I get to go every year. And so it is fun. But, you know, this is one of the things I don't think I fully appreciate because I don't watch golf all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, I know what's kind of similarly going on. I know, like, which player's cute.
It's
thanks
Scottie
to Danna.
He's adorable. Now, I will be clear. Bryson DeChambeau is my cute one. Like,
He
really
wasn't there.
adore him.
Why wasn't he there?
I don't know. Why wasn't Bryson at the Memorial? Oh, right. I did know the answer to that.
PGA.
Right, I did know the answer. He's in a different league. Yes.
So my whole goal of the day was to get as much Scottie footage as I could.
Right, so Scottie Scheffler is like my second choice.
He is cute in a rugged way.
But I have a crush on Scottie Scheffler, not because of his looks, but he is just a genuinely like down-to-earth guy. Like...
And so is this kid. His kid had a real blowout at the back. His dad just won the Memorial Golf Tournament, was about ready to shake hands with Jack Nicklaus. And they noticed, and it's like so real life. And I said, this is what makes them so likable because they're normal people.
Yes.
Like
his
it's normal.
wife was like, oh, be careful. He pooped up his back.
Yeah.
Like so funny. Like
her hat fell off.
Every one of us have been there. Like your kid.
I feel like it normalizes
it.
I personally like it. I liked seeing all the little kids at the tournament. It was just really fun.
Golf is becoming a very family-friendly sport. It was.
I don't feel like it used to be.
It was never that way in the past. It was a man sport, an old man sport at that. Like it was like retirees when you retired, and then you had like a few of the really really greats throughout time. But now it's really becoming
a family thing,
a younger sport. Families, men, women, kids, everybody.
I like it.
So yeah,
but Scottie is pretty cute. I did get pretty close to him. Bill and I were discussing how close I was, like what the real footage was. And I'm like, was I like 3 feet away? He's like, well, do you want to be 3 feet away? We think we were about 5 feet away from him as he was walking by.
I feel like that's pretty close.
And I yelled out, Danna loves you, Scottie.
Mm-hmm. And then, he got my number, so that's fine.
So we got to do some cool things. We got to see the trophy. One of the highlights of the Memorial Tournament is when every player, so at the Masters, they get a cheese sandwich. At the Memorial, they get a milkshake. So we had the opportunity to go to the clubhouse and watch. We got milkshakes, which really is a good milkshake. I don't always take a milkshake. This was a good milkshake. I got a strawberry milkshake. Bill got a chocolate milkshake. And you could get whatever flavors, like 21 flavors. But as the players finish, they get a milkshake and they leave. And one of the most normal things about golf is that they literally are leaving like in their own car, driving probably to the next place. So very normal, very family friendly.
We were just talking about this the other night. We took, it was my sister-in-law's 40th birthday, and we went to the Guardians game. My whole family went. We took, if you're from Cleveland, you're familiar with Lolly the trolley. And one of the limo services literally has like an old Lolly the trolley and refurbished
How fast does Lolly go? Normal speed?
Normal speed on the freeway. Yeah. But it's basically a limo bus, but it was Lolly the trolley. It was super, super fun. And we took it down. And anyways, when we were walking out of the stadium back to Lolly, we passed the players entrance. And so I had just seen, I don't know if it was an Instagram reel or a TikTok, and it was all of the Guardians players and what kind of cars they drive. And like, of course, most of them are like, Escalades and fancy Denali trucks. And then there's like these random guys that are like, got them like a Ford F-150, like, just your average, like,
yeah.
To be clear, we just bought a new truck. Trucks are still very expensive. I'd like to be very clear that just because if you're driving a Ford F-150, it still
doesn't mean it still means you paid a pretty penny.
Right, exactly. But it's really cool to see them.
Especially if it's a brand new one.
Yeah. Well, we did not get a Ford, but we did get a new truck.
No. You got a nice Chevy.
We got a Chevy. So
1,500.
Yeah, he got a nice new truck. So anyways, it's cool though to see them like real people. I feel like,
I think it's nice.
So same concept. So when they came back from the memorial, they were not planning on, we were going to do dinner because it was Bill's birthday, and we were like, oh, we should have dinner. And they were
but I didn't know if we were going to be back. So I didn't want to put any pressure on Danna because we don't want to stress her out. And so Jack had wanted Sloppy Joe's. Campbell wanted a meatloaf. And Parker wanted Spanish noodles. All 3 recipes, which I'm happy to share. And Campbell made her own meatloaf. So then anyways, we ended up making it back in time. And so all the food came with us. And we all showed up at Danna's house.
And it's, again, I never mind them coming here. I don't
Apparently
have to
she does.
entertain. I don't mind it. I just was like, I'm going to have a night where I'm just going to sit on the couch and do nothing. And I did actually sit on the couch and do nothing.
I feel like you did the same thing.
But the point is like, it was very chaotic at my house.
It was chaotic. It was very like loud.
Loud, and 800 different meals
up
are
the
going.
Car. We're like leaving the tournament. And I'm like, hey, Campbell, take over that strawberry puree.
And so this is what
this put you over the top.
Made it so
Which
chaotic.
Didn't even affect you.
No. But so to be clear, Kristin makes strawberry jam every year. My kid, I say my kids, but really it's Sam. My son Sam is obsessed with it. And every year Kristin's like, you're going to make your own jam. You're going to make your own jam. And I'm like,
well, let's go back to the part where you said I unfriended you. So I said I don't like you anymore.
So this year she told me, I am going to teach you how to make your own jam, and I am not making you jam. And
I'm going to give you the skills to make your own jam.
I took that as she hates me. And she doesn't want to be my friend anymore, and she's cutting me off, and it's rude. And so she brought everything over here to make jam with.
Including the sugar.
And was like, I'm going to teach you how to
make
jam. And
apparently it bothered her.
Well, I did not.
Well, I wasn't going to teach her because I clearly realized
but you could
as she's throwing the bacon on the pizza that she couldn't handle. She's tossing the pepperonis.
So they all had 3 different meals. Then my kids, we were doing like the homemade pizzas where everybody makes your own little one. But my kids didn't make them. I had to make them all. So I was like, oh, this one wants pepperoni. This one wants bacon. So I was doing 8,000 things. And then this lady wants to make jam in the middle of my kitchen, in the middle of dinner, with 17 different meals going and 20 people in my kitchen. Yes, this seems like the appropriate time to make jam.
It was like 11 people.
It's the point.
Yeah. Anyways,
so
are you happy now?
Was my anxiety a little high? It was. Did I get 11 jars of jam out of it without having to lift a finger? I did. So really, I think I came out on top here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still don't know how.
And she still sat on the couch. I still don't know how
to make jam.
She sat on the couch while I cleaned up the rest. And then I hear after I left that her husband cleaned up the rest of it.
I had to go do payroll. I had to work.
It worked out well for her.
I had to work. Whatever.
So anyways, and then Campbell made a big deal about her meatloaf because everybody had like a pound since I was like making something. It was only like a baby little meatloaf, like kind of an embarrassing meatloaf.
Like, it was definitely not enough to like feed multiple
But Campbell talked all day about this meatloaf. Like, I can't wait. The girl loves meatloaf.
I mean, she walked in the door and was like, I can't wait to eat
for
the
her
meatloaf.
17th birthday. She wanted meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Like, she loves the meatloaf.
Get it, girl.
So anyways, it was just kind of entertaining, everything that was happening. And meanwhile, we just come come from Columbus or Dublin from the memorial. We'd had milkshakes.
They lived their best life.
But I have to tell you about these nice gentlemen that I met. So
at the memorial?
At the memorial. So we're coming out. So we had the opportunity to go to this little chalet and we have food and drinks. And then we get to sit like right in the rough and watch. I think it was on hole 14. And so I told Bill, I'm like, those boys over there, they were like 4 college kids. They were so polite. They held the door for me after I just come out of the men's restroom, which that's a story. Somebody like blew up the ladies' restroom and it wasn't Danna because she wasn't there.
I do have a good restroom story to tell.
We'll share that in a second. And so I'm coming out of the men's restroom and run into a lady that I know. And she's like, hello? Did you just come out of the men's restroom? I'm like, well, in my defense, there's like other ladies in there too. The ladies' restroom is shut down. So we had to go to the men's. So anyways, a man was giving us advice and said, don't use those things on the left. Those aren't hand washing stations because they were the urinals. So it was rather entertaining. But anyways, they were so polite and they were in college and they looked so cute. And like, I mean, they could be my sons. Anyways, and so we ended up going to sit down like in our Adirondack chairs and like drink our drinks and watch. And the boys are right beside us. And so I told Bill, I'm like, those boys are such nice young men. And they were cute and they were like talking the golf game. Bill actually was impressed with their tracking to the ball because he's like, oh my gosh, how can their depth perception follow the ball like that?
Let me tell you something on a little side note here.
They knew it was going to be short and to the right.
On a little side note here, if you have ever, even if you're not a golfer, if you've ever been on a golf course and tried to track a golf ball as it leaves the tee, this is not an easy feat.
It is not.
So my son Sam is a very big golfer, and we go to tournaments every weekend for him. And the hardest thing is, so I drive a spectator cart, like Tom caddies for him, and Tom walks, and Liv and I and Joey, whoever's with me, we get a spectator cart and we drive ahead because you can't be like in the line, you know. So we'll drive ahead. So the hardest thing in the world is you hear that ball hit off of the driver and you can't find it. It in broad daylight disappears in thin air.
These boys could.
And that is so impressive. No, like that is because if like, you have ever tried to track a golf ball,
he's like, I bet it's going to be in the water.
That is impressive.
Sure enough, it was.
That is impressive. I have to give credit.
But they were really funny because one of the things that Bill enjoys a Bloody Mary. And so every year they have a nice Bloody Mary. And we always share one. And they had no Bloody Marys. So anyways, we heard them discussing with their friends who were at the Golden Bear, which because Bear is Jack Nicklaus's nickname. And I'm like, hey, do they have Bloody Marys there? Because they're like just right beside us. And they're like, I don't know, but let me text my friend. So then they texted and then we got to talking. And I said, oh, how old are you boys? And they're like 20 and a half.
They should not have been drinking the Bloody Marys.
They didn't have Bloody Marys. They were drinking other drinks.
They shouldn't have been. Obviously.
This drink called the Transfusion is what they were offering.
I'm sure there was no
Anyways,
alcohol.
but I'm like, you got to give him some credit because he's like 20 and a half. Anyways, they were so polite. But then we started talking about, somehow we got on the subject of bourbon and like drinks. And he's like, I don't really like a Bloody Mary, but I mean, my mom does. And I'm like, I could be your mom.
That's the worst.
And so I said, but listen, when you decide that you like a Bloody Mary, that probably means you're old. Mm-hmm. And so they were so cute.
You know, that is true though, because I did not like a Bloody Mary.
Because you start out sweet. Young. He's like, we drink Busch Light and like all the things. And anyways, they were just so cute. They were just such nice boys. And anyway, so then we ran into them later. And then they said, you never got your Bloody Mary. So they recognized me and Bill. And so I'm like, oh, boys, I am just that good. So we got a little closer and we had bought Campbell a hat. And so I was holding the Bloody Mary, but I was also holding the hat because you couldn't take drinks in and out of our pavilion, like our little chalet. I'm like, boys, watch this. And so I got it in. And then they looked and they're like, she did it.
Life
I'm like,
experience.
Now, let's just say this. I am not a sneaky, wild person. So I was like, oh, this was good. I actually did something that was not like legal.
You were a rebel.
I was a rebel at the memorial. So anyways, that's my story.
Well, so that's funny because actually I feel like you sneak drinks a lot.
Do I?
Well, you snuck a drink at the rodeo, which caused me to have an issue.
Okay, so at the rodeo, it is such a fun night. Like, I am not, let's be clear, neither one of us are like big drinkers, which is probably part of the problem. But you're there for like a good 4 hours, and sometimes like you need your snacks. Like, I took my cheese balls.
Thank goodness. I was hungry and I ate a good chunk of your cheese
balls. They have good food there, but we don't usually eat it. The kids usually do, and we just watch. And so we went to High Steel Rodeo. They should be a sponsor. Jack messaged, he's like, Kristin, they shared your post of my bull ride on their page. He was very excited. It is a rodeo facility owned by a dad and his 2 daughters, and his father is super involved, and they have a livestock auction there too. It's just a really in the middle of the nowhere. I'm not going to lie.
Oh gosh, it was pretty far out there.
South Bloomfield, Trumbull County. Middle of nowhere, but just a really fun family night. But there are lots of Amish there, so I think we can talk about that too. We'll add that in. And we invited Dana and Tom. It happened to be Bill's 54th birthday, and they decided that they would come hang out with Bill.
That's where we want to spend Bill's 54th birthday. But we did actually want to go.
Jack was
we've been
writing.
wanting to go watch Jack, and this was one of the ones that was a little bit closer to home than some of the others. So it made sense. So we went out there, and okay, first of all, I'm going to discuss this girl in front of us. I'm going to be a little gossipy. So there was an Amish girl in front of us.
Oh, yeah.
And I think she was like putting the moves on her Englishman. There was like
there was an English boy with her.
And
now, as we all know, I love my Amishman. I have like
to
favorites.
Be clear, I'm speaking nothing badly about Amish.
I know a lot of really proper Amish people.
That is frowned upon. I do know
she was a bad Amish girl.
She was a bad Amish girl, and I watched this.
But the unique thing is that we were all watching this,
and none of us knew.
And no one said anything.
We didn't know the other ones were watching. Like, I was watching this, and all of a sudden, the girl, they got up and they left.
No. Let's go this first. So the first was they were sitting separate.
Oh, yeah.
There was an Amish girl, and I didn't know that he wasn't Amish. So I had to like verify this by his jeans, because their jeans are different.
I know they're hemmed. You can tell by the hem usually.
Right, and they have no rivets. Mm-hmm. Like but his haircut didn't exactly look Amish. But the young Amish boys don't necessarily look. He was. And then she slid her hand onto his leg.
Okay, so I did not see that.
Oh, I did.
I did see, however.
I just touched your leg, Danna.
I felt it, and it made me so uncomfortable. I can't even tell you. They were vaping.
Like every 2 minutes.
Nonstop.
And we had youth group kids with us.
And Tom was laughing, my husband, because he was like, that's an electronic vape. I don't think they're allowed to use that.
Well, they're not home, so they can use electronics when they're not home.
When you're not home. But anyways, so they get up and they walk away together.
In the middle of the rodeo.
We all look at each other, because now we've realized that we are all watching this. And
I confirmed he's not Amish.
So I said, they're going off to...
You said do it.
I think I said do it.
And I said, oh my gosh, that was so immature.
Well, I do have like the mentality of a 20-year-old boy.
And then she said in the porta-potty.
In the porta-potty. I said they're probably going to the porta-potty. So fast forward.
And I say, where is her mother? I need to go talk to her mother.
Okay,
like, this is so bad.
But we're going to fast forward
so
the
inappropriate.
Night. An hour later, I've had a few drinks. I did have an alcoholic beverage, but I had also a lot of, like, I drank a Diet Coke, like, I drank a lot
of cheese balls.
Okay, and I had to pee really bad, and all they had was the porta potties. I'm not afraid of a porta potty. I can handle a porta potty. It was actually a clean porta potty.
If you listen long enough, Danna can pee and poop anywhere.
I can go anywhere. I have zero reservation about if you can give me a toilet, I will go in it. When you gotta go, you gotta go. And I really had to go. And it was a solid 45-minute drive home. There was no way I was going to make it that 45 minutes home. So I was like, I'm hitting up the porta potty before we leave. So I go into the porta potty, and it is about 10 o'clock at night. So it's obviously dark outside. It is also obviously dark in the porta potty because there's no lights in there. I can see nothing. I pull my pants down and I begin to hover, because if you do not hover in a porta potty,
you're gross.
You are gross, and we are not friends.
We are judging.
I will judge you until I am blue in the face. No amount of toilet paper can gift wrap that seat well enough.
Listen, I would pee in a cornfield, which I have done before I would ever sit on a porta potty.
Sit on a porta potty, and don't even try to put toilet paper down. Just hover. So I am hovering, and listen, sometimes when you hover, you get a little splash, you get a little trickle. It happens, okay? But this was an excessive amount that I was getting, and I'm like, oh my God, am I missing the toilet? Like, I'm getting soaked here. So I'm now like squatting, so I scooch to the right a little, thinking maybe I missed the hole. No. I scooch to the left a little, thinking maybe I missed the hole. No. I cannot figure this out for the life of me. And I have a full bladder, you guys. This goes on for an excessive period of time. and I am peeing, and I am now soaked. Like my jeans are wet with urine. And I'm like, I don't even know what just happened. So there is toilet paper, so I go to wipe myself.
And I know why.
I needed a lot more than just there to be wiped up. So I then proceed to throw the toilet paper into the toilet. Except now my eyes have adjusted a little and I can see a little. Someone put the cover down on the toilet.
The lid
was down and I peed on top of it the entire time. And when I tell you this was a minimum of a 30 to 45 second pee, the entire time all over the lid of the toilet. So my concern was who in their right mind would put a freaking lid down on a porta potty. And Kristin ever so greatly reminded me the people that go to have sex in the porta potty.
You said the word.
I said it.
I know. I feel like do it was worse.
Well, yeah, I was being.
You're in a real tough situation.
Well, I don't know what to do. It was bad.
Until next time, friends, we're mismatched.
And I drove home in Tom's brand new truck on the seat.
And he let you ride home.
And I had to Clorox wipe the seat
disgusting.
afterwards. Okay, bye.
We never got to the bird.